How's it going, everyone? In this video today, I'm just going to share with you a few hot takes, a few controversial opinions I've got on a couple of different topics that I've seen on my Instagram feed in one way or another this week, and I thought I'll just lump them all together and make a video on all of them. So you can decide after if there's any of these that you oh my goodness! How's it going, everyone? In this video today, I'm going to give you a few hot takes, a few controversial opinions that I've got on a few different topics that I've seen discussed in one way or another on my Instagram feed this week. They're not really related in any way, shape or form, but I thought I'll just lump them all together and do a video on it. And if you do agree or disagree with me on any of these, definitely leave a comment below and tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm brilliant, and most importantly, just help the algorithm. And on that note, make sure you do like and subscribe to the video, please, because it's free, it costs you nothing, and it helps me out, so why the hell would you not do it? So I'll be very grateful if you can do that, and I will now begin to give you my controversial opinions. So, first of all, mind-muscle connection does not exist. Trying to feel your muscles while you lift isn't magically going to make you grow more muscle. Not only is there zero evidence that proves that it is real, there's actually no logic in suggesting that it does, and I'm going to tell you why. For you to lift any given weight, you need to produce a certain amount of force, and in turn, that force stimulates muscle growth. Let's just say you're lifting 50 kilos, that means you're producing 50 kilos worth of force, which in turn is giving you 50 kilos worth of stimulus, regardless of where your mind is. What is real, however, is in your attempt to create mind-muscle connection, what you're actually doing is you're slowing down the reps, you're keeping your technique tighter, which in turn is putting more tension on the muscle, which is making you feel them more, which is probably going to help you grow more muscle. And that is what's perceived as this mythical mind-muscle connection. And that's my take on that. Second point, the effects that training has on someone who's taking drugs is going to be totally different and non-comparable to someone who's training drug-free. I've spoke about this plenty of times before, but you see all these guys on Instagram who are clearly on all the drugs, and you see them doing their 40 set chest days and whatnot, and if you were to put a drug-free person through that workout, it just wouldn't work. They would be smashed before they even got halfway through it, and there's just so many different elements of training, from programming and recovery and stuff like that, that guys who are taking drugs and training enhanced almost don't have to worry about, because it doesn't really matter what they're doing, it's pretty inconsequential, they're still going to grow muscle and get stronger. And that's because, and a lot of these guys would like you to forget this, the actual chemical makeup of their body has changed. So the effect that training has on someone who's not had all the different chemical changes going on in their body couldn't not be different. And I will concede, there's actually a lot of guys that don't do it on purpose, because I think they've probably been training on drugs for that long, and a lot of them have been using drugs since like the early days of their training, because that's just gym culture now, that they've probably forgot what it's like to actually train naturally. And some of them are just straight up assholes that just want you to go and buy their programs and whatnot. But stop trying to copy guys who are on copious amounts of drugs when you're just sitting there sipping on your creatine. Now the next one's more of a coaching point, and it's to do with the weekends. When it comes to people ruining their progress over the weekend, and I hear it all the time that I do good during the week and then it comes to the weekend and then I just fuck it and I end up back at square one. If that's what you're doing, the problem isn't actually what you're doing at the weekends, it's what you're doing the rest of the time. If you have everything absolutely on point and as good as it can be, one or two not so great days won't set you back. As coaches, we always talk about consistency and about how one or two good days out of 7 isn't enough to make progress, and that is totally right. But it also goes the other way as well. You can't undo 6 days worth of progress in the space of a day, or maybe sometimes not even a day, like a night. Unless you are chucking it to an unfathomable extent, and then you've got a problem. If you find you're setting yourself back every weekend, ask yourself, am I doing everything that I possibly can throughout the rest of the time, that when it comes to the weekend and I'm having a little break, it makes absolutely no difference to my overall progress? And you can go and ask any of my clients, unless it's down to crunch time, like the end stages of a diet, or we're going through a heavy training block where we do have to take every single little inch that we can get, there's absolutely no pressure on them to go and live like virgins at the weekend. They're just asking that when they go and enjoy themselves, just be a little bit sensible. And finally, and I don't actually take a lot of pleasure in saying this, but bodybuilding is becoming one of the most boring sports in the world, and there's two major problems with it. First of all, and it's a problem that bodybuilding's always been, well before I started taking an interest in bodybuilding, that you basically have the same people winning for like multiple years in a row, and it's like they've got a stranglehold on it. You maybe have a year or two break, and then the next guy comes and takes on for several years, and you just pretty much know every year who's going to win. That's linked to the second point, which is just with like the new social media age, where you basically see all these bodybuilders in the lead up to the show, and pretty much everybody picks out who's going to win. And I feel like it's been a while since the general consensus of when it comes to the Olympia or who's going to win in loads of people have been wrong. Did anybody seriously think that Chris Bumstead wasn't going to win the classic Mr. Olympia? And okay, the open bodybuilding did have a new champion this year, but it was still contested by the same sort of few guys that it's been the last couple of years, and I feel like most people knew that Derek Lunsford was going to win. So I do still enjoy bodybuilding, but I can only really enjoy it to an extent because it just doesn't have that same anticipation that a lot of other sports have. So that's a few random thoughts from me, and hopefully if nothing else you did manage to learn something from it, and feel free to challenge me in the DMs or in the comments or whatever, and I'll happily have a conversation with you about any of these topics. Social media is in the description, coaching inquiry form is in the description. I've not quite decided when I'm going to be closing my doors for 2023 yet, so if you are interested, please either drop me a DM or just fill out that inquiry form. It'll take you all of 30 seconds if that, and I'm happy to drop you a wee message and we can have a little chat. That's everything from me, and I'll see you in the next video.